Nickie Brown here. um, Doing something a little bit different. Well, I guess I always do something different, don't I? Well, a lot of my friends over the years have encouraged me to write a book about my story, and I was very reluctant to do so. But now I kind of want to do YouTube videos. Isn't that something, right? So, I mean, I'm just keeping up with the times, and um, I am in a healing space right now. I'm in the process of doing some healing, um, so that I can be the best version of myself. um, Years ago, I started meditating about 2013. Uh, and right after, so let's say, I think I started meditating in January. May have even been December of the previous year, but I'm not sure. I know it was definitely at least January 2013. I started meditating, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. I started out with the Deepak and Open meditation series. Um, it may be have been the first one because I wanted to meditate prior to that, but um, I guess I just didn't know where to start, and that helped me start. I was in a relationship where um, never mind. Anyway, I started meditating January 2013, and I noticed a lot of changes, and I noticed that I started to heal, right? But then I got some new information. Um, my father passed away in that March, and so I cried every day for 3 months. When it first happened, my friends came over. They really did support me and lift me up, and I really did appreciate that support because I needed it. And I remember I got drunk. And I was talking to a DJ at the time, so I went to the bar he was working at, and I got so drunk. And I felt so bad, but I was just like when I found out, it was devastating because not only did he pass away, but he died by himself. Um, and some people wouldn't sympathize with that um, because he was an absent parent, but I'm an empath, and for me, it was about knowing that I would never have a relationship with him again. Like he did a, um, attempt to have a relationship with me a few times as an adult, but he was in his addiction, so it was challenging for him to keep up. And so I understood that. But he was never like a jerk about it or anything. He would be like, "Oh, I got $50. I know it's not a lot of money, and I'm not trying to buy you." And then he would share his perspective, his side of the story, and it's always good when you can hear what someone else has to say, um, about you know about what happened, because there's always two sides, and oftentimes people will just hear one side, and that's just gossip or a rumor. So if you don't communicate with both sides, have an understanding of what happened from both perspectives, then it's just one sided, which is really not fair. And it's not productive. It's not, it doesn't breed healthy relationships. It's not, it shows a lack of communication skills, and it actually shows a sign of immaturity. And that's not to offend anyone. Um, I'm just know from all the psychology material that I've read, how it shows up. And so I'm sharing from the perspective of the knowledge that I've gained over the years. This is not to attack or offend anybody. The information is out there and available to be researched, and so the research can be done. Um, and it's just a matter of Googling it. But I actually do have a lot of books. So, I'm actually a reader. Books are very important to me. So, um, it's not just about, again, I'm not judging, I'm not criticizing anything. I'm actually, um, you know, see, back to Eden, how to eat to live, heal thyself for health and longevity. um, those are all good books. And, it's about that mind, body, soul, energy, spirit, all that stuff connected. And so it works how it works. I didn't make it up. I'm just sharing the information. Anyway, so I don't really hold on to grudges. People think that I do. People assume that I do because they haven't really taken the time to get to know me. And so they assume that I hold on to grudges, but I'm very forgiving, almost to the point where I really don't care. In a lot of cases, and the things that other people are focused on, I'm not even thinking about a lot of times. So sometimes it's even weird for me. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, I'm not even thinking about you. Like, who are you again? Like, that's kind of like I'm in my own world, in my own mind, doing my own thing, thinking about my own stuff. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then they say, "Oh, you're trying to be funny." Really, I'm not. But okay, let's go with how you're feeling, because obviously I've triggered something, you know, and that was not my intention. So I'll even apologize, even though I don't know what the hell is going on, and I know damn well I didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes I'll just apologize, like, I didn't mean to make you feel that way. And then if the person asks, well, what are you apologizing for? I try to at least paraphrase what they say to come up with a good answer that would suit them, because otherwise you'll just go on a merry-go-round, and it's sometimes it's just too much. But again, I do appreciate him apologizing, and him sharing his side of the story, and that actually helped me have a bond with him. So to and although he fell off the wagon, um, and I hadn't heard from him for, I actually did speak to him that New Year's Eve, because ironically my grandfather passed away that New Year's Eve, so December 31st, 2012. So I called to tell him, but he had already I guess, been on maybe a binge, and so, his spirits weren't the best, and, but he did respectfully listen. He answered the phone and he listened, and I did appreciate that. Although I can tell he wasn't even in the space to receive necessarily what I was saying. Well, we talked for a few minutes, and um, that was actually the last time I heard from him, you know. So I'm glad it was, again, him respecting me, him listening to me, and him receiving what I said. It made me feel important. And I think that that's important. Which leads me to the reason why I started this video. um, along my healing journey, I realized that I like attention. And I know that at certain point, like when I was younger, I've always been a free spirit, and I would just wear whatever I liked or whatever I was in the mood for, and not necessarily to attract attention. But of course, certain styles of dress attract attention, whether you want it or not. And so attracting attention sometimes made me feel good, but then sometimes it also made me feel ashamed or embarrassed. And it felt negative, like I just didn't want it. Especially, certain kinds of attention, or, attention that feels disrespectful, attention that feels like too much. Everybody's different. Everybody's different as far as that's concerned. But I remember the first time it ever clicked in my brain that was what's going on. I was 4 years old, and my mom and I lived in Booker T. Washington housing project in Jersey City, New Jersey. We had not too long moved from a house on Gardner Avenue, with my grandparents and both my uncles. But by the time I turned 3, they were getting a divorce, and my one uncle was in Boston, or at least on his way, and the other uncle was in New York, in and out of trouble. So once my grandparents divorced and sold the house, my grandmother moved probably about 25-30 minutes away. So again, it was just my mom and I. And she would dress me up like a doll. And so she would do my hair cute, and I would have on cute clothes. And on occasion, I would be allowed to go outside. And whenever I went outside, I got so much attention. Again, I was 3 when I noticed it for the first time. And I had the cutest voice. And so whenever I would go outside, people in the neighborhood would say, "Hey, Nickie," they would, whatever. They would want to hug me or whatever. And they would say, sing the song. And there would be a crowd around me. And if somebody didn't hear it and they walked up after the fact, sometimes I would have to sing it more than once. But anyway, there would be a crowd around me, and the 2 songs were the double Dutch bus rolling down the street. Moving and a grooving to the double Dutch beat. Rebecca, Rolita, Rashawn, and Dawn, everybody. I can't believe that I remember the words. I probably didn't say them in order, but and the other one was I found love on a two-way street and left it on a lonely highway. Love on a two-way street and left it on a lonely. Now I don't remember that verse in between, but yeah, it would be those two songs: the Double Dutch Bus and I Love on a Two-Way Street. And like I said, back then I had the cutest, like little voice, little voice, as my friend Lydia used to say, little voice. And people would want to hear me sing those two songs every time. I had to sing those two songs. And so, like, one day it just clicked, like, wow, this is what I have to do to get attention. I have to entertain people. So when I grow up, I'm going to be a singer. So that way, when I become a singer, I can teach people how not to treat people. I can teach people how not to treat kids. And I can teach people what's right from wrong. And that kids aren't stupid and kids know what's going on. And it's not right to hurt kids or to be mean to kids. And so for years, I thought I was going to be a singer. And then once I got to elementary school, no, high school, my voice started to change. So like around 8th grade, I guess, going into 9th. So once I got to 9th grade, I decided not to be in the choir anymore. Plus it was after school and I wasn't allowed to participate in after school activities because I had to come home and babysit my little sister. Because I was 13 when she was born. So, but in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, in junior high school, I was in the school choir, and even in 5th and 6th grade too. So, that was fun. But again, my voice changed, and I started to hear the chatter that, what I wanted to do wasn't a realistic career goal. And, I tried to be a model when I was younger, and that didn't work out for me. So you have to, be more realistic, or, guidance counselor in high school saying, yeah, that's just not realistic. So that spirit died in me. But I changed from singer, since it's like, okay, well, my voice changed, but maybe I can still be an actress. But once all the chatter started, it was kind of like, well, I guess maybe I'm supposed to do something realistic, so let me go to law school. And I went to school for the first semester in 1994 and took some of the classes that I needed to take. And I wasn't really interested in what I was studying, so I stopped going after, I think, the second semester. And yeah, these things shaped who I am today, and the subsequent choices I made. And if you want to hear more, please like, share, subscribe, and donate. You can donate to $ circa 2009, CIRCA 2009.com. So that way we can bring you more content like this, and you can hear from other people and hear their stories as well. Or you can just hear from me. Um, you know that I also do readings, um, astrology readings, and life coaching. So let me know if you're interested in any additional services as well. It's time to heal, y'all. Let's let go of the guilt, let go of the shame. Um, and maybe you don't feel comfortable sharing your story in a video. Maybe you feel more comfortable writing it down. Maybe you feel more comfortable talking to a counselor. And if you have a friend that's willing to listen, maybe you have a friend that can listen, but it's not really fair for you to dump all of that on your friend. It is better to share with people who can relate, people who have had the same experiences, because not everyone had a good experience growing up, whether it was their mother, their father, or both parents. Um, you know, some people don't have that closeness and connection with their family. There are a lot of people who have always felt like the black sheep in their family because they've always thought different or done things differently and not conformed and adhered to what was considered the norm, or just did what was done to them without thinking about it, or just allowed things to be done to them without um, setting boundaries. Um, and so that's what I'm here to help us all heal, and share our stories. Again, even if you just want to share a comment about how you can relate, or maybe how you can't relate, because some people can't relate. But really, this is for us that do share a similar story and can relate. So if you can relate to this story, or if you know someone who can relate to this story, or if you know someone who can benefit from this channel and may need similar healing because they had a similar situation with toxic family members growing up, or toxic situations um, that have blocked their heart, that have them living in fear, that have them not wanting to grow, have them not wanting to learn, have them not wanting to date, have them not wanting to step out and trust that love can happen again. Trust that there are good people out there that will not, try to steal from you, or not, you know, gossip about you, or slander your name, or try to sabotage you or your career, or steal from you, or lie to you, or, you know, pretend to have your best interest at heart, or pretend to be your friend just so they can, because they have an agenda. Whatever that agenda is, whether that agenda be to snitch, or that agenda to be to find out who you are so that it can, benefit in some other way. It's time to admit the truth. Tell the truth of your experience, or um, the truth from your perspective. Because again, oftentimes people only hear one side, and you never know what that side is, because of course people are going to tell the story to make themselves look good, and not, and downplay the situation as much as they possibly can. It's time to stop doing that, because we can't heal that way. It keeps us stuck in a cycle, and it's time to break the cycle and branch out. It's time to grow. It's time to be better, a better version of yourself. Low self-esteem, from being called fat, or being called ugly, or being called bald, or being called, to this or to that, or not good enough of this, or not good enough of that, whatever that looked like. Acknowledging that it did hurt you, and it did affect your life and how you show up to other people and how you show up in relationships. Um, because sometimes we allow people to treat us in a certain way, but we don't realize that's how we're treating ourselves. And that person is actually in our lives to be a mirror to say, hey, you're not treating yourself well, so why should anybody else treat you well? And so it's time to start treating ourselves well. It's time to start having um, self respect, self worth, self love. Um, get in the mirror and do those affirmations. Meditate. Calm your mind. Do your breathing exercises. Be kind to people. It really doesn't cost you anything to be kind to people. Don't make assumptions. That's one of the four agreements. A lot of people make a lot of assumptions, and they are so completely wrong. And the type of person that I am, I don't have time to sit there and keep going back and forth with you about it. If that's what you want to think, you go right ahead and think that. And I'm going to go over here and mind my business and let you keep thinking that. Because it doesn't make sense. You have to get to know a person. You can't just make assumptions and think that you know somebody, because, you know, just because you have known a person all of your life, all of their life, for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. It's people who live in the same house together and still don't know each other. Knowing of a person, knowing their mannerisms, you know, maybe assuming that you know what they would do or how they would handle a certain situation, that's not knowing somebody. Knowing somebody is having conversations to find out what they like, what they dislike, and actually respecting the things that they say. Not trying to change them. Not praying to change them because you think they don't know what, they don't know what to do or how to, you think you know what's in their best interest better than they do. And they know themselves and you don't. You just think that you do. And you think that you know what's best for them. And so you pray against them. And you don't see anything wrong with it. And it's really hurting that person more than it's helping that person because it's going against what that person wants. So now these energies are in conflict with one another. And there's a push-pull. And then we wonder why that person doesn't want to enter our energy field or our space. It's because they feel attacked every time. What seems innocent to one person seems like an attack to another because they're not allowed to be. People just want to be. People just want to be who they are. Without judgment, without criticism, and without someone trying to change them. And you don't have to like it. No one ever said that you have to like how someone is. Have you ever watched the movie A Raisin in the Sun? And that whole dynamic, have you paid attention to the dynamic of the family? There was that one black sheep. There's usually always one. I see it happens a lot in Asian families. I'm not, I shouldn't say a lot, but I guess when you see it happening with an Asian family, it's noticeable. Maybe it's more common amongst coloreds to rebel against their parents. So, the parent wants the child to be a lawyer or a doctor or some type of entrepreneur. So, and the child's want, or the young adult wants to be an actress or a yoga instructor or a YouTube influencer even. And so some parents disown their children. It is what it is. But a lot of times the children don't say anything. They just go through the whole 4 years with their parents thinking that they're in school to be a lawyer or doctor, and then they go pretend, you know. Sometimes they pretend to be in medical school or law school, but sometimes they just, you know, once graduation hits and their parents come to the graduation, it's like, surprise! I have a bachelor's degree in theater. So, but anyway, one of the reasons I'm telling this story is today is because I'm tired of telling this story. And I want to stop telling this story. And I've been wanting to tell this story for years. Like I said, I've been encouraged by friends to tell it in the form of a book. And me not wanting to offend anyone has prevented me from moving forward with that. But me not using my voice is not allowing me to heal my throat chakra and my heart chakra. And so I need to use my voice. And I need to get all of this stuff that's in and causing me pain and causing me anxiety and causing me fear and causing unhealthy relationships and causing whatever else. Lack of confidence, low self-esteem. I don't know why everybody has those things. People look at me and I'm thankful. I'm thankful and grateful because one of the things that I love to do is teach and learn. And so I love that people see me as a source of education and appreciate the advice that I've given them over the years. I appreciate that they appreciate that I'm a good listener and I've been a good friend. I really do appreciate those things, and I love to help, and I love to give advice. But I needed to tell this story because I know that this story will help somebody. It's not only going to help me to heal my chakras, but it's going to again help others to overcome the challenges that they face, because we all have some type of childhood trauma, like I said, from one parent, both parents, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, somebody, a cousin. That traumatic experience could be that somebody passed away. They could have passed away tragically or suddenly, but we all have something that happened to us at a young age that triggered us, that was embedded in our subconscious mind, and that still affects our lives today. And we act upon that, whether we do it consciously, subconsciously, unconsciously, we're doing it. If we're repeating, if something happened to you and the first time that it happened to you, it made you feel bad, but then unconsciously or subconsciously you repeat that same behavior, we're continuing a cycle, because we did something that was done to us was hurtful and we didn't like it, but we then turned around and did it to someone else. And maybe the first time it wasn't on purpose, but then after a while it became a habit. So we know that we're doing this. We know that we're getting an attitude, or we're mentally attacking somebody, or who do they, all of this kind of I ain't got to do all of that, or because even if you're not saying it, sometimes that expression is written on your face or in your body language. So you don't even have to come out and say that sometimes. Like an empath like myself can pick up on the energy. So I could tell that the energy shifted and that you're now doing stuff or saying stuff to be spiteful or vindictive. And a lot of people actually have that ability. And so those of us that do have the ability, typically, we don't want people to think that we're crazy, so we don't say anything about it. Right? But we've picked up on the energy and we allow that bad behavior to keep happening and we don't check it. And then after it has happened several times, then we decide to check it. But then we still end up looking crazy. Because when it happens, we're supposed to check it the first time and we're not supposed to excuse the behavior and just let it slide. And so people who know that you allow that behavior to go unchecked, they take advantage of that and they start to manipulate you with that sometimes. And you're just sitting there looking at them like, no. And you may rebel against it, but still in their mind, you're not saying anything. So they don't get that you get it. They just think, well, what's wrong with you all of a sudden? Because you never said, you never communicated. And that's one of the biggest things that we need to do. Communicate and open up and stop keeping the family secrets a secret, because it's going to help somebody else. It's not only going to help somebody else in the family, it's going to help people outside the family. And that's one of the things that I like to do. When I realized that this is how you get people's attention as a little girl, like I said, my mission ever since has been, how do I get people's attention? But then life gets in the way, because in the meantime, you need resources to provide for yourself. And then I had a child when I was 18, so I had to provide for myself and a child, which, any single parent knows is challenging. And, it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be a village. For a long time, I held on to in my mind, the fact wasn't a fact. The fact that I was supposed to be married. Like, this is what you told me, you were going to do, and you didn't keep your word. That's not my fault that you didn't keep your word and do what you said you were going to do. But then I realized, it wasn't that he didn't keep his word. He thought that by me having a baby, I was going to stay. So he thought that he will always have that access. Oh, you got me up. And then one day he said, this is what made me realize it, because one day he said, I thought you would never leave. And I said, how long did you think I was going to be stupid for you? I wasn't doing that. No, you're not going to treat me any old kind of way. You start out with flowers and roses and, dates. I'm 16, so I'm impressed, and, flowers and cards and, Portuguese restaurant, they slicing the meat off the skewer and putting it on a little plate and stuff. I was like, I got a good one. He's going to really take care of me. And he basically reneged. I'm not mad. Life is about choices. But my choice was not to just be in a marriageless situation. Like, my goal has always been to get married. I didn't know you were going to trick me with a baby first, but it's all good. You fooled me once. Shame on me. But you won't fool me again. So I promised myself I wouldn't have another child out of wedlock, and I didn't. Now, I did some things that I'm not necessarily proud of, but life happens. I've forgiven myself and I've moved on. So, again, I don't judge myself or criticize myself. I don't judge or criticize anybody. I may have knowledge that allows me to see things differently, and I share that knowledge. Again, anything that I say can be researched. But sometimes people aren't ready to receive it, and especially not ready to receive it from me. Because who do I think I am telling somebody something you ain't got, and you ain't got, so don't she ain't gonna be telling me nothing. You know how that goes. You know, like the people who think you can't give them advice because you don't have kids. Those people. Anyway, I just want to clear up the confusion and provide some clarity in my life and the life of others. This is not me attempting to be a victim to the story. This is me helping other people who may be in a similar story and they're holding it in and their lives are miserable. Because some people aren't able to be strong enough to stand on their morals or values or sensibilities and stand up for themselves. And standing up for yourself doesn't mean that you have to be mean. It just means that you need to set boundaries. And if your boundaries are not respected, then there should be consequences. Again, that doesn't have to be mean, spiteful, or vindictive. The consequence could just be a conversation. Okay, we need to talk about this because I didn't like that way that made me feel. Or I didn't like when you did that. Or I don't like when you say that. Like, sometimes you have to speak up because otherwise people will continue to take advantage of you or manipulate you and make you feel bad. And that's counterproductive to your healing. So, if you want to do some healing with me, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, share, and donate. $circa 2009, CIRCA 2009. You can also check out some of my spiritual merchandise at www.circa2009.com. There you will find things like smudging kits to help you cleanse the energy in your space, and Palo Santo, which will help you bring in new energy into your space. I also have some flowers, so you can burn those flowers and bring in sweetness into your life, because we all need some sweetness. I also have sea moss. Now, your sea moss is going to give you over 100 vitamins and minerals that your body actually needs. You can put it in smoothies. You can cook with it. You can put it in, you can just take a spoonful. Whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. But you can buy that raw, or I can make it into a gel for you, and you can purchase it already in gel form. I also have yoni steaming kits. They are great for healing. They're actually good at releasing old energy from past lovers, and just help to cleanse out any unwanted or unneeded bacteria that may be in the womb, from soaps or intercourse or chlorine water, different things can happen there. And they do help to detox and cleanse that woman's space. There are even lingam steams that help with the man's prostate and cleansing out that area. Just really, again, steaming is these are old ancient techniques, that our ancestors used to use to cleanse and detoxify their bodies, along with sound healing, yoga, massage, and other holistic techniques to really center the body, get you balanced, so that your mind is clear and healthy, your body, the body is clear and healthy, and so are the spirit and the soul, so that you have clear thoughts, clear understanding, less conflict, if any at all, and you're able to move forward. You're able to finish things that you start, because that's a lot of people are unfocused and distracted. Um, and so, meditating and centering yourself, and practicing stillness, um, it does help you focus. It helps you to finish the things that you start. It stops your mind from scattering so much. Maybe it'll still scatter, but not as much. Um, and really changing the way that your mind thinks, opening you up to new things and new possibilities. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, again, if you want to take this journey with me, like, comment, share, subscribe, and donate to the channel so that we can bring you more content like this. Um, this is just part one. Um, the stories will get more interesting as we go along. So stay tuned for the next one. As always, I love you guys. See you later.